Good evening, baseball fans. How you doing? The Red Sox make a move. Justin Turner is coming to Beantown. We're going to break it down. What's next for Rafael Devers? Could there be an extension on the way? Or could there be a trade on the way? We'll talk about it. Michael Brantley heading back to the Astros. Which free agents are available? There's not many left, but we got a few decent names out there. We're going to take a look at them. Oh, hello. Didn't see you there. Sorry, I was getting myself a celebratory beverage. Hey, when the Red Sox signed Justin Turner, it's time to celebrate. Delicious. Man, these taste more and more like a World Series every sip. Man, oh man. Hope you're all having a great night, everyone. How you doing? How you doing? Good evening, everyone. A lot of familiar faces here in the chat. What do we got going on here? We got members. We got familiar faces. We got moderators in here. We got Alex Rodriguez himself is here. How are we doing, everyone? Good evening. A lot to talk about tonight. Justin Turner coming to the Red Sox. Hey, my Red Sox finally did something. You got to love it. Finally. Finally, they did something. I was a little sad not bringing in Swanson, going to the Cubs. And I'm thinking, man, well, we got to do something here. We got to answer in some way, shape, or form. And this morning, I actually sent out a tweet to Mr. Hyde Bloom. He was probably doing some shopping at the local Ross Dress for Less, looking for deals anywhere he can. And I think he saw my tweet because I said, Hyde, please do something. Please. And then all of a sudden, we get news that maybe the Red Sox were talking with Justin Turner. And then it was intensifying. And then they got him. And he had to have looked at my tweet. Why? Because, well, he answered my call. And we brought in a ginger, a fellow ginger coming to the Red Sox. I mean, come on. He had to have looked at my tweet. How could he have not have? How could he have not have? I'm just saying. But we're going to talk about Justin Turner tonight. Rafael Devers, we do have a little bit of news on him as well. Michael Brantley going back to the Astros. We're going to take a look at the remaining free agents that are left on the board. There are still some good ones. The big names are all off the board now. But when it comes to more of the B-tier kind of players, these are the ones that we're going to start focusing on a little bit more. And actually, a lot of B-tier the B-tier free agents have come off the board already. So we'll take a look at who is left. Everyone, thank you for tuning in. I do greatly appreciate it. As always, if you are new, think about subscribing down below. If you are new to the channel, we're trying to get to 30K by opening day. So if you can help us get there, that would be fantastic. Everyone, the light goal for tonight, I'm thinking, I don't know. Can we get to 200 likes tonight? I think we could get to 200 likes. I think that's very possible. Let's go for it. Go big or go home, huh? And everyone, hit the bell notification. That way you know I go live every single time I go live or upload content. And share the stream or any of the content if you can. And also, this podcast is now sponsored, or it's brought to you by the BLEAV Podcast Network, and our main sponsor is BetOnline. Basketball is back, and BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season. You'll always find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. And as your continued source for all sports wagering information, BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and giveaways all season long. Always the fastest and easiest way to bet all your favorite sports and events, whether that's NFL, NBA, NHL, MMA, tennis, boxing, or even golf. Head to BetOnline to join and receive your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code BLEAV, BLEAV, to receive your rewards. BetOnline, where the game starts. Alrighty. enough of me rambling. Let's get to it here. I'm in a good mood tonight, bringing in Justin Turner. It's always a good day when the Red Sox bring in someone. Well, these days, bringing in anyone is good for me. It makes me happy. But really like this edition of Justin Turner. I think it's extremely solid. I've always been a fan of Justin Turner. He's the first thing that comes right off to me with Justin Turner. Just a good guy in the clubhouse. He's always been liked by his teammates. He's always done a lot, in the city of Los Angeles for Dodgers fans out there. He's always trying to contribute in charities and whatnot. Just a good person all around, and I think he's going to be a favorite in Boston. I mean, I think people are going to gravitate towards the ginger beard quite nicely. I'm very excited about it, and he's just a really solid guy. Not just a solid guy all around, but just a solid player. Got off to a bit of a slow start last year, but in the second half, he really, really turned it around. Very hot down the stretch, and overall had himself a pretty good season. If we go take a look at the numbers overall, hit 278 in the overall, hit with a 350 on base. My brain is not working right now. Can my brain just start working, please? And a slugging of 438, 13 home runs. You'd like to see a little bit more power, but a 123 WRC plus. But like I said, second half and first half were pretty different. In the first half, he hit 256, but in the second half, he hit 319. He actually had more home runs in the first half. Well, you're playing more games in the first half. In the second half, he was running into some injuries, but definitely a much better hitter in the second half. And if we take a look at the advanced numbers, hey, you got a lot of Reds here. And with Justin Turner, definitely a bit more pull when it comes to the power. I think that's going to complement Fenway Park rather nicely. Now, the question is with Justin Turner, people have been saying like, oh, wait, isn't Justin Turner a third baseman? Well, Justin Turner is going to be the designated hitter. As of right now, the way the lineup is looking with, everyone in their place, Justin Turner is looking like the DH. And I think that actually, considering he's 38 years old now, I think this actually might end up being a really good thing for him, shifting over to the American League. Now, will there be a bit of an adjustment period going over to the American League, seeing pitching that he's not really used to, so he's really going to have to read up on some scouting reports. So I'm not worried about that. This guy's a veteran. I'm not really too worried about, maybe it might take him a little bit to get adjusted to some different pitching. But overall, I love the move. I think it's a great move. Solid player, solid person, good for the clubhouse. That's one thing with Hyde. A lot of people like to get on to Hyde. But one thing he really does look for are just good character guys as well. People think he's just looking at the numbers constantly. But one thing Bloom has been on the record of saying, he likes to look for guys that just have a good character. Guys that will be good in the clubhouse. So overall, I really like the move. The Red Sox right now, compared to yesterday, this lineup is looking better. It's not looking a lot better, but it's better. Justin Turner, I think, is a guy in the DH spot with Fenway Park. I think he's a guy that can get 20, 25 home runs. And if we go take a look at Justin Turner's numbers overall, the highest home run total that he's had was 27. He's actually had 3 seasons of 27 home runs, but he had 27 back in 2021. I definitely think he can absolutely get 20, 25 home runs, at least at Fenway Park, with, playing half a season at Fenway Park. I definitely think that's possible. Now, for the Red Sox, what do you got to do here? What do we have to do here? We're going to talk more about this, myself and Ellis, on the BLEAV in Red Sox podcast. We'll talk about this a little more in depth, but just looking at it quickly, right now, I think the Red Sox still need to address second base. It's looking like Story's going to be the shortstop now. I think, I've said this the last couple of streams. The writing has been on the wall since last year when they signed Story. You knew Bogaerts was going to be a free agent when they signed him. I think they knew Story in the back of their minds. This was the guy that was going to be your shortstop when Bogaerts leaves. I think they just, I don't know. My gut is telling me they knew Bogaerts was probably gone. that was just what I've been thinking here. You know, kind of looking back on it for the last few days. I think they just thought Bogaerts was going to be gone. You know, and they brought in Story as, you know, a good insurance policy. Maybe there was a chance that Bogaerts could have stayed. I think they would have liked to have had him back. But I think there was more of a chance of him leaving than staying. So they brought in Trevor Story. At least that was one of the reasons why they brought in Story. Story was, either way, going to be a good pickup for you. So I think right now, the best option for the Red Sox is to grab someone at second base. I was saying last night, I would like Brandon Drury. Sure, right now he's kind of a one-hit wonder. Had the one season last year. What I like about Drury is that right-handed bat would complement Fenway Park rather nicely, and he has the versatility, and I think that would play nicely into the way the Red Sox like to do things. I wouldn't mind someone like a Gene Segura, was just in the World Series last year, so wouldn't mind someone like him. Maybe an Elvis Andrus. I think I would like Drury or a Gene Segura personally, unless there's maybe some kind of a trade out there. I haven't looked too in depth of, you know, who could be some trade candidates at second base, but for the Red Sox, I'm not really looking for them to be making any blockbuster trades right now, because while they do have more prospects, I don't think they have, like, you know, the kind of prospects, the depth of prospects like, say, the Dodgers or the Mariners have, to where, you know, they can go out and make these kind of deals. So for the Red Sox, if they can get a trade, you know, where they're not getting rid of a ton of prospects, then I'm okay with that. But right now, I think the free agent market is where they're going to keep going with this, because I think with Christian Arroyo, I do like Christian Arroyo, but I personally look at him as more of a utility guy. That's just my opinion. So I would like someone a little bit more dependable at second base personally. I think the Red Sox, you know, Hyde has been saying he's been looking at the trade market. He's been trying to, you know, add, you know, maybe like a number 2 kind of a starter. So could you bring back Eovaldi? I think there is a good chance Eovaldi could come back. We'll talk more about him in just a little bit, but I think there is a good chance Eovaldi could come back, because they offered him the qualifying offer. This is a guy last year who had an up and down season. Do teams really want to, unless they really are sold on Eovaldi being very solid for you? I don't know. I find the possibility of a team giving up a draft pick for Eovaldi, or giving up whatever kind of compensation they have to give up, you know, for someone who had a pretty up and down season with health last year. I find that, I don't know how I fully feel about a team doing that. So I think there is a chance he can just still come back to the Red Sox, but I don't know. Maybe a team will offer him a multi-year deal and he'll just end up leaving. But I think the Red Sox, they still could use another starter here. I like the way the bullpen is shaping up. So the Red Sox, they're sure. Maybe they didn't have the offseason that I think a lot of people were hoping they would have, but I like the addition of Turner. I think it's all around a good move, and but I think they need to keep going here. I think this is a good step in the right direction, but that's just me. Moving on to our next story. You know, I made my graphics and everything, you know, where I do the little pictures to kind of, you know, where I'm about to move on to another story. I made the graphics, and I forgot to put them all in, so we're just going to be shifting gears. I'm just going to be moving over to different tabs. So for our next story, everyone, we're looking right here at Mr. Rafael Devers, batting third in this lineup. That's what I hope we keep seeing. I want Devers in the fold for quite a while. He's only 26 years old, one of the best hitters in all of Major League Baseball. I want to keep this guy around, but according to Mike Deportes, the Red Sox are planning on offering Rafael Devers a new deal in the next few days. Now, when it comes to Rafael Devers, okay, so I put out a tweet. Where is that tweet here? Don't remember where I put it. Oh, here it is. So I put a tweet last night. I looked at the numbers for Rafael Devers. I was looking at his values over the last 4 years. On average, he has valued about $35.5 million per season. So for me, I'm thinking, all right, let's offer this guy a couple of different deals. I think you could either go a 7-year, $252. Okay, so if we're doing the math here, 252 divided by 7, that is $36 million per season. That would put him right at the top of highest AAVs in the game. But this is a shorter deal than what he's probably looking for. However, with a 7-year deal, I would also throw in an opt-out after the 4th season. So that would make him a free agent at 30 years old. He'd still be right in his prime years. And he can just go back out onto the market again. Or he can stay in the contract, and then he'll be a free agent again at 32. So he could probably still, look at Manny Machado right now. Look at Aaron Judge, early 30s right now. Aaron Judge getting the deal that he got. Manny Machado expected to become a free agent next year. He's expected to opt out according to reports. And so Rafael Devers, maybe he can take that same route. So I think a 7-year deal could be advantageous for Rafael Devers. But now, if he is looking for more of a long-term deal, say right in the double-digit range of years, 10, 11, maybe 12, I think something along the lines of 10 years, $310 million. The way I came up with $310 million, I did the first 5 years. Let me pull out my trusty calculator here. I did the first 5 years of this deal at $36 million per season. And then the next 5 years, which would be from his age 31 to 35 season, I did it at $25 million per season because players in those years tend to kind of, regress a little bit. So when we're doing 36 for the first 5 years, and then, not 25. I take that back. I think I meant to say 30. $30 million per season over the next 5 years. So 180 in the first 5, and then 30 for the next 5. So do an average of all of that together. You're doing 180 for the first 5 years, 150 for the next 5 years. Add all that together, and you got $310 million. So, which ends up being an AAV of $31 million per season. So I think that is pretty fair, in my opinion. Just kind of looking at what he's been valuing, and also kind of just how players, they tend to regress in those age 30 seasons. But also, there was another tweet here from Hector Gomez. Devers is seeking something at least 9 years. At least. So, maybe my 7-year deal isn't going to quite cut it. But I think, honestly, either the 9 or the 10-year deal is pretty fair. When we're looking at 11 years at 360, I don't know about that one. That's a lot, man. That's a lot. The 325 over 10, I think that's right around kind of like I said 310, but whatever. If you got to give him a little bit more, if it ends up being anywhere maybe like 315 to 325, I think that's fair. I think that can get it done. We'll have to wait and see what the Red Sox end up doing, but this is going to be a big week. It feels like something is going to happen with this, whether that's talks fall through or they get something done. I think the Red Sox would like to get something done with Rafael Devers more than, say, what was going on with Xander Bogaerts, because Rafael Devers is a younger player. This is a dynamic hitter in the game right now. This guy's just amazing right now. So I think you want to try and lock this guy up, and I think it would really make the fans happy. Obviously, losing Bogaerts was a sting, and kind of the way the offseason has gone. It hasn't, you've gotten a couple of guys here. You brought in a Yoshida. And, another thing with Yoshida, I was reading an article today. The Red Sox, they have actually been scouting him for years. Not even just this past year. They've been going back like the last 5 years now. And one of the scouts for the Red Sox has said they see a lot of similarities with Yoshida and Ichiro. Ichiro, during his time over in Japan, had the higher batting average, but Yoshida had the slightly better on-base percentage and a better slugging percentage. But they kind of look at the way their approach to hitting, they compared it, and they said they see a lot of similarities with Yoshida and Ichiro. Will he end up being Ichiro? I don't know. But the one thing with Yoshida, man, he makes a ton of contact, just like Ichiro. He's extremely hard to strike out, and he walks a lot. hey, who knows? I do think the Reds, and now that kind of makes sense because the Red Sox, you saw how quickly they jumped on Yoshida right after he was posted. They gave him an aggressive offer, and there were reports out there that teams were thinking, what the heck are the Red Sox doing here? They're offering this guy, they just gave this guy a record deal for a position player from Japan, and there were reports out there that other teams were kind of laughing at it. And the Red Sox, they kind of knew that. But to me, there's something there. If the Red Sox were that aggressive in just how quickly they acted on it and how much they offered him, I think they see something with Yoshida, man. So anyway, I digress, talking about Rafael Devers. But they have had a couple of moves. They've made the couple of bullpen moves with Jansen and Martin, trading for Joely Rodriguez. You brought in Justin Turner, Yoshida, like I just mentioned. But it's not the offseason that I think Red Sox fans are fully hoping for. I think they were, hoping to bring back Bogarts or make, a splashy signing, maybe bringing in like a Rodon. I noticed that with the big market teams, if they don't make a splashy deal, I noticed the fan base, they kind of sour a little bit. It's not just Red Sox Nation. It's also, the Yankees. I was seeing the Cubs, like after missing out on, guys like Bogarts and Correa. I was seeing Cubs fans out there looking a little frustrated over on Twitter, but then they landed Swanson and everything seems to be a bit better now. So the big market teams, when you don't land a splashy guy, make a splashy deal, you see the fan base kind of sour a little bit. So I think the Red Sox, and I think they see it too, let's get a deal done with Devers and let's get this fan base a little energized again. Let's bring some good feelings back to Red Sox Nation. Now, will they do that? I don't know. I know the Red Sox now, obviously, with the way they've approached things in the last couple of years, they got their vision now, and they don't care what the fans are going to say. They are sticking to their vision, and they're going to move forward, whether you like it or not. They're sticking to a plan. It might be a little painful for some people. It might be a couple of painful years. They just made it to the ALCS, but hey, they're trying to transition into a more consistent organization now. And that comes to, a lot of factors, financial flexibility, having a deeper farm system. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take years. Dave Dombrowski, even though he made a few great moves for the Red Sox, and he's making great moves with the Phillies now, he did deplete the farm. Did he have the chance to restore that farm? No. But the Red Sox, that's where they want to get back to. They want to get back to a consistent organization, both on the field, with the payroll, and with the farm system. It's not going to happen overnight. So, and I know that might be frustrating. Sure, Hyde has there's been a couple of frustrating things. I would have loved if he could have offered maybe a few more bucks for a guy. But in the end, I'm trusting the process, and I'm going to wait and see how things play out, and then I'll make my judgment call down the road. This is going to be a big one here. Rafael Devers, very interesting. I don't know where this could go. Just because of how they have been, they very well could just not do it. I absolutely could not do it. I absolutely see it. They traded away Betts. Here's the thing with Betts, though. I think Betts was, 27, 28? Devers is a little younger than Betts, so I could see them maybe doing it for Devers. But Devers wants to stick around. And Betts, he looked like he was dead set on testing out that free agent market. So, I don't know. I'm 50-50 on this. I don't really know which way they're going to go with this. They could go either way. But I think there is something there, right, to where maybe they can meet in the middle. I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. But I do wonder if they will get it done. And if they don't get an extension done, you got to figure it out this week, right? Because you're coming into Christmas, getting into January, spring training is right around the corner. When they traded Betts, they traded him in the beginning of February, I believe. I believe it was February. So I think if they are not going to sign him to an extension, I think they need to start looking at trade options. I want Devers back, but if they're not going to do it, if they're not going to be able to come to terms, You have to trade him. You have to. Why? Because Devers right now, while he's a year away from free agency, but obviously the performance and just the age, the lack of injury history, he has a good value. You're looking at anywhere from around $35 to $40 million worth of surplus value for Rafael Devers, because he's also not making a whole lot of money either. When you look at what he's going to be making this coming year, if we go to the Red Sox payroll, he's not going to do anything to your payroll, really. Rafael Devers, at least in comparison to what these other guys are making, he's expected to make $16.9 million this coming year. I mean, when you're looking at what these other guys are making, like these top players in the game, I mean, that's a bargain right there. So teams definitely would love to have that number on their payroll. So this is why Devers is going to get you a pretty decent package back. You're not looking at a monster package for Devers because he is close to free agency. Last offseason, yeah, you would have gotten back a haul for Devers. You would have been looking at anywhere like 60, probably to 70 million, worth of surplus value. So, but right now you're looking at around 35 to 40. So, where could Devers go? If you're going to trade Devers, what are some teams, if you're looking at teams that can use third base upgrades? Well, I'm going to start all the way at the bottom here. On Fangraphs, they have their depth chart rankings, so I'm looking at the third base rankings. Royals are at the bottom. No. Reds, no. Tigers, maybe. I don't know. They have prospects. I mean, I don't know. They just seem dead. I don't know what's going on with the Tigers, man. They were active last offseason, and now they're just nowhere to be found. Nationals, no. Marlins would love the bat. Could you maybe do something with the Marlins? Here's the thing with the Marlins, though. Will they sign him to a long-term extension? I don't know. I think they would like to trade. I think a team that would want to trade for Rafael Devers would be a team that would like to also sign him. Will the Marlins sign him? He would be a nice fit there. And they have prospects, but I don't think the Marlins would sign him. I don't think they have the money for it. A's, no. Rangers, they got Young there, so no. I do find the Diamondbacks to be pretty interesting. Right now, the Diamondbacks, they went for Bogarts. Could they end up getting Devers? I put together a little trade here. Again, these are not, set in stone trades. I'm just kind of looking at a couple of different things here. But I have one trade with the Diamondbacks put together. Devers heading over there, and then the Red Sox in return, they would be getting, I think I'm pronouncing his name right, Brandon Fad. It's a very interesting last name. P-F-A-A-D-T. Is it Fad? I'm guessing it's Fad. But right-handed pitcher in AAA last year. Had some pretty decent numbers. AAA, he looked pretty good over 10 starts, 74 Ks over 61 and a third innings, or 2/3 innings. So this is a guy who has a pretty decent value, and he would close the gap a lot. As of right now, he is their number 4 prospect. So I would think for the Red Sox, when it comes to what they would like to do in terms of a trade, I think you would probably look at the Mookie Betts trade being the framework. A young major league ready player. Now, Fad isn't really quite a major league ready player as of right now, but he's getting close. And then, a couple of prospects with it. I think the same kind of trade for Mookie Betts would be what you would look at for Devers. So they got Verdugo, Connor Wong, and Jeter Downs. Obviously, that has not really worked out for the Red Sox very much. But, I mean, they were able to clear off the, they weren't going to bring back the guy anyway, so it's like you might as well. What was the point of paying him when you weren't even going to be bringing him back anyway? Seeing a couple of super chats coming in. I appreciate you guys. I'll get to those in just a second. I will not forget the super chats. I've been having a bad habit the last couple of streams of missing a couple, so I will get to those. Thank you very much for those guys. But Fad, I think, would be a pretty nice addition. I think for the Red Sox really could use some pitching in their system. And then I have a couple of other also Rojas. I do have Rojas here. He is a major league ready guy that could step in. I could see the Red Sox liking him because he has versatility. He can move all over, and he can obviously just slide into third base. Obviously, he's not going to be the same kind of a hitter as Devers is, but I don't know. I'm just kind of brainstorming here. Rojas would just be a natural fit to slide back in with Devers gone. And then I have Lin as well. Yu-Min Lin is their number 15 prospect. He's an A-ball right now. Very young lefty, 19 years old. So, but he did pretty well in the minors last year. So that's one trade I have for Rafael Devers going to the Diamondbacks. Another interesting option could be the Mets. And the reason I say the Mets is because the Mets were recently just in on Carlos Correa. They got in late. And actually, Steve Cohen talked about this. He said they got to the party late. They were hoping maybe Correa would fall to them. Ended up not being enough, just a little too late for them. And they were not able to land him. He was saying Correa would have been, a great upgrade for their team. So could they go another route? And they were saying Correa, he would have been their third baseman. Well, okay, you have a third baseman right here. You have a third baseman. So Devers would be great. I feel like the Mets need another bat. I don't know why. Like, I like their lineup. I just feel like they need a little more something in the middle of that order. And I think Devers would be pretty nice for the Mets. The Red Sox have shown interest in the past in Brett Baty. That would be the main piece coming back for the Red Sox. And he is a guy that made his major league debut last year. So he would just be the natural fit there. He would be basically the player like Verdugo was coming back to the Red Sox. So Baty, didn't have a whole lot of playing time. He had 38 at-bats over 11 games last year. So, but in AAA last year, he hit really well over 6 games. And in AA, he played 89 games. He hit really well there too. So I would think Baty would be the main piece coming back in this kind of a deal. And then, I actually have a bit of an interesting twist here. The Mets have been open, according to reports, of maybe trading a starter, and maybe the Red Sox could bring in Carrasco. This is a guy that can give them some innings. And, maybe he's not quite a number 2 kind of a guy, but this is a guy who could come into the Red Sox rotation, and the Red Sox would take the salary of Carrasco. Maybe the Mets could send back a little bit of cash with it. But then I also, maybe not. Maybe you can just take on all of Carrasco's salary there. And then I have a couple of other prospects here. I got Orzi and Budo. Orzi, as of right now, Eric Orzi is their number 19, and Jose Budo is their number 15. So I think the Mets could be a pretty nice fit. Could you swap out Baty for maybe a Vientos? As of right now, Vientos, he has right around $10 million worth of value. If you take out Baty, you would probably have to put in probably Ramirez and Vientos. So here is what the trade would look like. Let me put Vientos there. And then who was the other one? And then Ramirez. So, and let me take out Baty. So I could see maybe something like this. You get a couple of lower prospects, but I would rather have Baty, to be completely honest with you. But that is an option. I think the Mets, since they were looking at Carlos Correa for third base, they could turn to the Red Sox. And the Mets would give him the contract. Absolutely, the Mets would pay him. And one more option I do have. I actually got this option from, I'm going blank on who put it. I can't remember who gave. Anyway, but it was a while back on one of my streams. Maybe the Phillies, right? I didn't finish putting this trade together yet, but I just put in one piece going back to the Red Sox. Maybe the Phillies with Rafael Devers. If they really want to go for it, they brought in Trey Turner. If they really want to try and go for it, Alec Boehm, I think, is nice, but Devers would be an upgrade. Would be an upgrade for the Phillies. For the Red Sox, he would basically be the Alex Verdugo in the Mookie Betts trade. He would be the young player, the major league ready player going back to the Red Sox. That right-handed bat would, I think, be a really nice fit for the Red Sox at Fenway Park. And then for the Phillies, if you send back Boehm, you could, just throw in a couple of more guys here. I don't know. Maybe throw in like a Rojas and maybe Wilson, something like that. Maybe something like this. Maybe not 2 outfield prospects. Let me take out Wilson. And maybe you can put in, I don't know, Otenbright. I don't know, something like that. Doesn't have to be this exact one. You can put guys in and out, whatever. But I think the Phillies could make a lot of sense for Rafael Devers. Absolutely. Sure, I know Alec Boehm, people in Philly, they've really, grown to love him. You remember what happened at the beginning of the beginning of the season last year. Alec Boehm was not looking very happy playing in Philly. But I think if the Phillies got Rafael Devers, I think Philly fans, you can't be upset about that. I know you'd have to give up Boehm, but I think it's kind of one of those guys where you like Alec Boehm, but I think if it got you a guy the caliber of a Rafael Devers, you'd see the comments like, man, I love Alec Boehm. He was great for us, but you know what? When you get Rafael Devers, a guy like this, I'm okay with sending back Alec Boehm. That's the kind of comments I would see. But these 3 teams, sure, there are some other teams, maybe that could jump in on this. But these 3 teams personally make the most sense to me. The Diamondbacks, the Mets, and the Phillies, because the Diamondbacks would be interesting when it comes to the money. That's why I would probably put the Diamondbacks in 3rd. Honestly, I'd probably put the Mets in 1st here. I'd probably put the Phillies 2nd. And then the Diamondbacks probably 3rd. I think the Mets make a lot of sense. This is a team that really wants to get it. They got the money. They can give him the deal that he wants. The Phillies, Dave Dombrowski, this is a guy, he's spending money there too. I could see it. So, but I think these 3 teams would make a lot of sense for Rafael Devers. Let me get to these super chats here. Here we go. We had one from C-Raz951. Red Sox slowly turning into the Boston Dodgers. You could see that, Hyde Bloom has been on the record saying he wants the organization to be like the Dodgers. He wants to have, they already have the finances that the Dodgers do. The Dodgers, they got money for days. So do the Red Sox. They got money for days too, but they don't spend it as aggressively as some of these other teams. But Hyde Bloom has said he wants to have a farm system similar to the Dodgers because they can go make a trade if they want. If they want to go get a guy. Or if a guy leaves town, they got good talent in the farm that can just go right in. The Dodgers, to me, sure, maybe they're not winning a World Series every single year, but when you look at the way the Dodgers organization is, it's almost perfect, right? You got the financial flexibility. You got a great farm system. You have a great major league team. It's the perfect franchise. When you really, yeah, sure, maybe a couple World Series would help that a little bit more. But Bloom has said he wants to be like the Dodgers. Let me get to this next super chat here. What was this next one? Tom Amiano, it's bringing me to tears even talking about this. Tom, I know, man. I hope we keep Rafi. I do. I really do. But if they don't do it, you got to deal him. Hey, that'd be great content for the channel. It'd be great content, but I'd be a sad boy. Odd Villain, $4.99. Devers and Kike Hernandez to the Mets for Brett Beatty, Matt Allen, Simon Juan, and Montez de Oca. Love the channel. Odd Villain, I love you, my friend. Thank you. Hey, that's an interesting one. Kike is interesting. If you got Brett Beatty back, I'd be okay with that. I'd be cool with that. Young third baseman. I'm telling you, man, I think the Mets really could be an option. Let's move on here. Let's shift gears. Enough of the Red Sox. Enough of my Red Sox. Enough of my giraffe neck Robbie over here. Let's talk about the Astros. So we got Michael Brantley heading back. I'm just convinced Michael Brantley is just going to stay with the Astros his whole career. I'm just convinced. He's never going to leave. He's just going to go back. But for the Astros, it makes a lot of sense. If we go over here to the Houston Astros, they needed a left fielder. I thought maybe they were going to go another route. Brantley is just a guy. I love Michael Brantley as a player. I really do. but he's just not healthy. Like, look, I mean, he has missed a good amount of time over the last 3 seasons. 2021, he missed over 40 games. 2020, he missed 14 games. Last year, he missed a ton of time. Played a little more than a third of a season. When he plays, he's great. He's a good on-base guy, good for the clubhouse. I like Michael Brantley. Defense in left field, whatever, it's left field. But, hey, I'm never going to hate Michael Brantley signing with a team. I am just convinced that the Astros he's just never going to leave the Astros. He's going to retire an Astro. I thought maybe this was the year. I was convinced this was the year that he was going to go somewhere else and the Astros would maybe go a different route. But hey, I like it. They obviously love the guy. They think he's great for the clubhouse, great for the organization. He's a pro's pro, man. I think his teammates are going to be very happy that he's coming back. Hopefully we get a clean bill of health for Michael Brantley. He can play close to a full season. Maybe not a full season. Probably might be best to, have him alternating. But I think keeping him out of left field as much as possible, just have him be the DH, keep him off his feet out there in the outfield, maybe a couple of times, play some outfield. But I think just keep him at DH, keep him out of the field, keep his legs a little bit more fresh. But what does this mean for some other free agents out there? What does this mean? Well, if we go take a look here, where is the off-season tracker? I have lost the off-season tracker. Let's go over here. So let's shift gears. Who are the big free agents that are left? All right, well, as you can see here, the top names are all gone. They're all gone. Swanson was the last one to come off the board yesterday. And now, Justin Turner, he's more of a B-tier kind of guy. But when you're looking at these other guys, there are still some solid players left. You have Elvis Andrus, who had himself a pretty good season last year. Corey Kluber, not as good in the second half, but he's a veteran. I think he'll latch on somewhere and he'll contribute. Brandon Drury, I like Drury. Yeah, again, right now he's a one-hit wonder. Had that 1 year last year where he was very solid, had almost 30 home runs. But I would love him for the Red Sox. I've said that a few times now. You got Jerickson Profar. This is a guy who gets on base. He's hard to strike out. He walks a good amount. A guy like Johnny Cueto, another veteran guy. You can compare him to, Corey Kluber. So, veteran guy. You got some interesting names out here. And Gene Segura as well. He had some injuries last year, but I still think a very solid second baseman. An interesting one like a Matt Carpenter. Could he go back to the Yankees? Honestly, this guy was on fire when he went to the Yankees, man. He was out of his freaking mind. Could he just end up going back to the Yankees? Got some interesting veterans like Rich Hill, Zach Greinke, Michael Wacha. So, you got some names. Evan Longoria is still out here. Gary Sanchez, Drew Smyly. It was looking like him and the Cubs could be nearing a deal. So let's wait and see on that. But there's still some options out here. And probably the most interesting one is Michael Conforto. Obviously not playing last year, but Michael Conforto, he was a good player with the Mets. Before that last season with the Mets, he was putting up some really solid numbers, but he was going through some injuries and ended up missing all of last year due to injury. So, in my opinion, he is the most interesting free agent left on the market. Who are some teams that could go after a Michael Conforto? Well, I'm looking at the Texas Rangers. If they want to upgrade in left field, you got a young player right now and a Josh Smith. You got Duran here as well. Could they just stick with the youth here? Yeah, very possible. But could you maybe give a guy like Conforto a chance? Bring him in on a 1-2 year deal. Maybe even a 2-year deal with an option. I don't know. I think he could be a pretty decent fit with the Texas Rangers. I mean, why not? Yeah, I know they're looking to compete, but why not see if you can get a big reward out of Conforto, like a bit of a low risk kind of a thing. Honestly, I wonder if the Yankees could be an interesting fit for Michael Conforto. As of right now, you have Oswaldo Cabrera out in left field. He's played in New York. Just shift over to the Bronx. Maybe go play for the Yankees. Left-handed bat. I think that could be pretty decent for the Yankees. Why not? I don't know with the Yankee. I think Yankee fans would find that interesting, but I wouldn't count out the Yankees for a guy like Conforto. And, well, he's definitely not going to the Astros now. I thought the Astros would have been a great fit for him. In the end, Michael Brantley's gone. Look out for the Blue Jays. Now, I think that for the Blue Jays, I think they would need to kind of open up a little bit of room here. I think if you were able to trade Danny Jansen, maybe. I think I wouldn't count out the Blue Jays, because they could use another lefty bat. They would have to make some other moves to make it happen. The Marlins are always looking for some bats. They have a pretty crowded outfield right now. But Conforto is a guy where they've had a tough time bringing in bats, besides last year, they brought in Soler and Garcia. But when it comes to these higher price free agents, you're not really going to sign those guys. Conforto would be around that range of what you're paying Garcia and Soler. So I think Conforto could make some sense. But Conforto is interesting, man. Very interesting. Another guy, that I want to talk about a little bit. Yeah, maybe you can say a little Red Sox bias here, but I don't know why. Where is he? Why is he not popping up here? Nathan Eovaldi. Where is Nathan Eovaldi on here? Okay, here we go. So Nathan Eovaldi. It's interesting because the Red Sox offered him the qualifying offer. Like Conforto, he's, I think, the most interesting free agent left. But Nathan Eovaldi's interesting too because he had a really good season 2 years ago, but he has the qualifying offer. So I don't know. He's in a weird spot because he's 33 years old. He probably wants a long-term deal, but teams might not want to give him a long-term deal because he has a qualifying offer attached to him, so they would have to give compensation back to the Red Sox. And it's you don't really know what you're going to get with him health-wise. I feel like the best spot right now for him would be to go back to the Red Sox on a 1-year deal and go test the market again next year. That's what I think. But it's weird, though, because he's in that awkward age where if he's 29, it's a little different. But he's 33, so he's kind of getting into those years where he's getting up there a little bit and he's showing some signs of, wearing down a little bit, up and down with the injuries last year. So I don't know. I think he could go back to the Red Sox just because of that qualifying offer. It's very similar to the situation that Conforto was in. Now, Conforto was dealing with a bit more of the injuries, but Eovaldi, not to that extent, but he has dealt with the injuries. So I don't know. I think teams could be a little hesitant. I saw the Yankees were showing interest on him. I saw at one point the Orioles were maybe showing a little interest in Eovaldi. So I don't know. I think there's a good chance he could just go back to the Red Sox. But I'd be interested to see what team, if a team would pony up maybe a 3 or 4 year deal for him. I don't know. It's the age and the injuries that make it a little awkward. So we're just going to have to wait and see on this, everyone. But I'll be honest with you. That's pretty much all I got for tonight, everyone. There's not a whole lot to talk about. There's not a whole lot of news right now. Obviously, the Justin Turner one. If the Red Sox didn't sign Justin Turner, I was not going to be going live tonight. So that was a little bit of juiciness to talk about. And, you had the Rafael Devers extension talk. But other than that, there's not a whole lot else. So I think I'm going to cut it right there, everyone. I mean, unless something else happens, we get some kind of a trade. I don't know. We got Christmas coming up next weekend. Are we going to see a whole lot of action this coming week? I don't know. But I have the next couple of weeks off. And I'm definitely going to be pumping out some content. I'm going to be working right here at my desk. I can't wait, everyone. But I'm going to get out of here, everyone. I'm glad everyone stopped by here on this Sunday night. Good to see the Red Sox making a move with Justin Turner. I don't know what's going to happen with Rafael Devers. I don't know what's going to happen. But we're just going to have to wait and see like always. Everyone, on your way out, if you can, hit that like button for me. The goal for tonight was 200. If we can get to 200 likes by tomorrow after everyone has, come in and replayed the stream that they missed, if we can get to 200, that would be amazing. Hit the bell notification as well. Share the stream. And again, subscribe if you are new. We're trying to get to 30K by opening day. Everyone, Thank you for stopping by tonight. And as always, I'll talk to you next time.